What do you actually do about this? I'm tired of not being able to do anything. I feel like the issue is that, like, if you're not really in like a position of power, you alone cannot do anything. But like all that we have is like our community here, and like we have each other. We have our voice. That's it. But also the media is just like a tool for like capitalists, for the elite, to manipulate the masses. So a lot of the things that you see are obviously going to make you lose hope. It's designed this way. But when you look at history, progress has always been made regardless, because people kept fighting. People kept organizing. People kept taking care of like their communities. People kept living. People kept being visible. Like that's kind of how it works, right? Like for me in Germany, I had to be going to like 2 independent like psychologists, lay out everything, and then go to a judge to get my name changed and my gender marker changed. And it cost me 2,000 euros. I don't think if all of those people didn't fight, didn't sacrifice their lives to be themselves, I don't believe that I would have had access to HRT. So progress has still been made. Conservatives, fascists, they just like fight incredibly hard to destroy everything. And they have to convince you that you're already lost so that you give up. That you do not continue fighting. The media is like a tool for that. All of like the transphobia, all of like these like laws that are being pushed, and there's like another lie that is like being turned into like a spectacle. All of it is to convince you to stop fighting, to roll over and give up. And that's how they win. They have not won yet because trans people are still out there. Trans people are still coming out. Trans people are still fighting to be themselves. They have not won yet, and they will never win as long as people keep fighting. And sometimes the only thing that you need to do in order to, you know, fight is to resist the urge to just give up. And that's why a community is like so useful. That's why going to a protest is so incredibly useful. Like going out there, seeing how many people are actually like fighting for your right to exist. That is inspiring. But yeah, that's kind of like how society works, right? Like obviously fascism, conservatives, like they never left. They're going to, like once all of this is over, once they go back into hiding, eventually they're going to make a comeback again. The next generations, they're going to go through the same shit again. But at least some progress has been made. Certain things are still moving into the right direction. There are a lot of things that we need to like worry about, right? We need to worry about like the climate crisis, healthcare in general, not just like trans stuff, but like in general, all of like the welfare programs, all of like the social security. We need to like worry about all of these things because that's what they come for. But these are things that are so big where it makes it feel like there's nothing you can do about it. And it's okay to feel a little bit, you know, exhausted and tired, to like continuously like see the cycle repeat itself over and over again, to see people gaslight you, to have people not listen to you, to have people dismiss anything that you're saying, all of your worries. But it's important to like find a community where you can just like be yourself in, to just like focus on your life. About 2 weeks ago, I made like a video where I was like feeling like giving up, where I broke down on stream, right? Like I cried because of like all of these things, right? It's everything has been getting to me. Things have been a little bit too much. The past couple of weeks, I didn't really yap a lot about like politics because, you know, I was exhausted. After all of this time, after like all of those attacks, when it comes to like, you know, the slander, to have to constantly have to like chase after people who are spreading lies about me, and like the constant transphobia, you know, struggling with myself, all of these things, like it's exhausting. It made me feel like shit. Made me feel like giving up. And, you know, I cried about it. I talked about it, put it in this video that you should watch because, you know, it's actually quite important. And I took a little break from it. And now I'm getting back into like, you know, the yapping about everything, like the state in the world. And I can feel the hopelessness kind of making like a comeback. But I think it's important to like realize that and recognize that, and when it gets to a point where it's just too much, to just take a step back. You do not need to be ahead of like everything that is going on in the world, because a lot of the things are overwhelming, and it sucks so much that you cannot change things at like a macro scale. It doesn't matter what form of medium I use. I cannot go out there and fix transphobia. I can't do that myself. But I can share a lot of these things and maybe change somebody's mind. Maybe I can help somebody discover themselves. That's kind of what I can do. And I think even if you're not a content creator, even if you're not a trans person, I think you can still do something for like your community. You can still do something for your friends. And you never know like the little ripple effects that this has on society. But sometimes you also need to like take care of yourself. You cannot change society. You cannot fix society. You cannot fix this cycle. But what you can do is just stay alive and live the best life despite of all of these things. That's my strategy as well. Try to live the fear of trans people one at a time. Obviously, things are scary, right? It's okay to be scared. It's valid to be afraid of what's going on. It's okay to like see what is happening in the world and be like, this shit is terrifying. But I think it's also important to just appreciate the little things that you have in your life and maybe find like something that gives you like some form of like comfort. Knowing that like despite all of the propaganda, more people are now aware of like trans people, more people know trans people, more people have come out in the past like years, more people are discovering themselves. You know, back then when I came out, or like when I was trying to like figure myself out, I didn't have like education on like trans topics. I didn't have like creators that I could look up. I didn't have like forms of media where I felt represented. I didn't have the words to describe how I felt. And now things have been getting better in that sense. It's not perfect, but things have been moving into like the right direction. Obviously, it kind of sucks that there's like so much propaganda. And when you look for like trans topics, you find a lot of like misinformation and so on. Because obviously, you know, right-wingers have like the big megaphone and they're screaming all of like these lies into everybody's ears. But there are a lot of people who are like pushing back. There are a lot of people who are just, you know, educating at like a small scale. There are trans people who are teachers, where like the children in class are much more receptive to like trans people. There are more trans people who are able to be open about the fact that they're trans. Obviously, the transphobia that it attracts, it gets to me as well. But a lot of it is also just like artificial. A lot of it is like a small group of people funding all of like the propaganda. So everybody is constantly surrounded by so much hatred. Back then, I didn't know why I was different. For the longest time, I thought it was normal for guys to just want to be women. I thought that every guy, like that was just like a natural thing that like everyone who was born male wanted to be actually born female. I thought nobody wanted to be a man. Not because it's so difficult and tough to be a man. No, it's just like I thought that nobody actually likes being a man. Everybody just wants to be a woman. And I thought it would be like ridiculous to like talk with like other people about it because, you know, duh, everybody wants to be a woman. And now I know, no, actually, I'm trans, I'm different, and I know that there's something out there that can help with that can make me feel more like myself. And all of this would not be possible if trans people, if allies wouldn't fight so hard for it. And right now, we are kind of the generation who has to fight. So the next generations of trans people have it a little bit easier. I wish it wasn't like this. I wish people wouldn't have to fight so hard. I wish people wouldn't have to like advocate for their rights to exist and so on. But I feel like as a marginalized community, you always have to be like in this position where you will encounter a lot of people who are just incredibly ignorant. And if you change somebody's mind, pushing back against the narrative just a tiny bit already pushes the needle into the right direction, you know? But yeah, that's kind of like how I keep going with like all of the things that are going on in the world. I wish it was easier. I wish things wouldn't be this bad. But you know, like 5-6 years ago, when I told people that this is a situation that we are going to end up in, people were like, nah, you're overreacting. Even if I'm going to sit there right now and be like, hey, you know, with the AFD rising and like all of the things and like they're going to come for like trans people and so on. People are still sitting there right now to this day being like, nah, you're overreacting. It's a terrifying like spiral to get into, to like sit there. It's like, how bad does it have to be for somebody to fucking stand up and actually listen to us? But sadly, there are a lot of people who just, no matter what, will never listen. But some do. Some do. Some care. And I think that's what people need to like focus on. Surround yourself with people who actually do care.